When disaster strikes, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, how nice your car is, or how many followers you have online. In that moment, what matters is this: what's already in your home. The European Union just sent out an unprecedented warning telling citizens to prepare for a crisis. That's not coming from a conspiracy forum. It's from one of the most powerful political and economic blocs in the world. And with wars heating up, supply chains stretched to the breaking point, and global tensions making headlines every week, the smart families aren't waiting for trouble to knock on the door. They're preparing now. The truth is, when crisis hits, store shelves can go from full to empty in less than 48 hours. It's happened during hurricanes, wars, economic collapses, and even during a simple supply chain hiccup. And here's the scary part: once the shelves are empty, it could be weeks or even months before they're restocked. That's why, today, we're going over the 6 foods you'll wish you had stockpiled before it was too late. These aren't trendy diet items or gourmet luxuries. These are the survival staples that can literally keep you alive when everything else falls apart. Before we dive in, take a moment right now to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell. In a world where news moves fast and crises can come out of nowhere, missing even one piece of practical advice could mean the difference between being ready and being caught empty-handed. 1. Rice, the calorie king of crisis. Rice is one of humanity's oldest and most trusted survival foods. For thousands of years, it's kept civilizations alive through famine, war, and natural disaster, and it's not hard to see why. A single 50-pound bag of rice can provide over 80,000 calories. That's enough to feed a small family for weeks. In the modern world, we take rice for granted, seeing it as just a side dish. But in a survival situation, it becomes the backbone of your diet. White rice, stored properly in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, can last up to 30 years. That's right, 3 decades. This makes it one of the most cost-effective and long-lasting staples you can add to your emergency stockpile. Brown rice, while healthier in normal times because of its extra fiber and nutrients, contains more oils in the bran layer, which causes it to go rancid much faster, usually within 6 to 12 months. That's why most serious preppers stick to white rice for long-term storage. But rice is more than just calories, it's versatility in a bag. You can combine it with beans for a complete protein, mix it with vegetables for a quick stir-fry, or stretch out meat dishes so you get more servings from the same amount of meat. During World War II, rice was a key ration in many countries because it could be stored for years, transported easily, and kept soldiers and civilians full. In many Asian countries, rice was not just food, it was a symbol of life, and losing access to it meant facing hunger head-on. In a crisis, rice can even become a barter item. When people are desperate, staple foods have real value. A few pounds of rice could trade for other essentials like medicine, batteries, or clean water filters. In extreme scenarios, a bag of rice might be worth more than cash because, unlike money, you can actually eat it. That's why stocking it now isn't just about feeding your own family, it's also about having something to trade if the situation gets truly desperate. Another hidden benefit of rice is that it's incredibly easy to cook, even in low-resource situations. You can boil it on a small camp stove, cook it over a fire, or even let it soak overnight in hot water if fuel is limited. And if you sprout rice, it becomes even more nutritious, giving you fresh, living food in a disaster scenario. Storage tip: the ideal way to store rice long-term is in food-grade buckets lined with mylar bags and sealed with oxygen absorbers. Keep it in a cool, dry place, away from sunlight and temperature swings. Done right, you'll open it decades later and find it as fresh as the day you sealed it. If you want extra protection, you can also store smaller vacuum-sealed portions inside those buckets, making it easier to open just what you need without exposing the rest to air. A little planning today ensures that when hard times hit, you won't be worrying about where your next meal will come from. 2. Dried beans, protein that lasts a lifetime. If rice is the king of calories, beans are the king of protein. Together, they form a nutritional powerhouse that has sustained entire cultures for centuries. Think about it. Rice and beans are the foundation of diets from Latin America to Africa to Asia. And in a survival situation, this combo can keep you strong, healthy, and ready to face whatever comes your way. Dried beans, when stored correctly, can last 25 years or more. That's longer than many of us have been alive. They're packed with protein, fiber, iron, magnesium, and other essential nutrients your body needs to function under stress. Unlike fresh meat, beans don't require refrigeration, making them ideal for long-term storage. Sure, they might take longer to prepare than canned beans, but their long shelf life, nutrient density, and low cost make them an unbeatable survival staple. During the Great Depression, beans were a lifesaver for countless families. They were cheap, filling, and adaptable to whatever ingredients were on hand. A simple pot of beans with some spices and rice could feed an entire household for pennies. Fast forward to today, and they're still one of the smartest investments you can make for your emergency pantry. Even during modern-day disasters, whether it's hurricanes, power outages, or supply chain breakdowns, beans remain one of the first foods people turn to. One thing many people overlook is that beans aren't just survival food, they're comfort food. In tough times, a warm, hearty bean stew can lift spirits and provide a sense of normalcy. You can season them with herbs, combine them with dried vegetables, or add preserved meats for variety. Pinto beans for chili, black beans for Latin-inspired dishes, lentils for soups. Your pantry can be as diverse as you want. Beans also have a hidden survival advantage. You can sprout them. If you soak beans for a few days in water, they'll start to grow. This transforms them into a fresh, living food with a big boost in vitamins like C and B, which can be critical in preventing deficiencies during prolonged crises. In a situation where fresh produce is scarce, having the ability to turn dry beans into sprouted greens could literally save your health. Another bonus, beans help stretch other foods further. If you have limited amounts of meat, adding beans to your recipes can double the number of servings without sacrificing nutrition. That's a survival strategy our grandparents understood well. Storage. Tip. Just like rice, beans store best in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers inside a food-grade bucket. Keep them in a cool, dry, dark place. Rotate your stock every few years if possible, using older beans first. If your beans get a little tough over time, just soak them longer before cooking, or use a pressure cooker to speed up the process. Properly stored, they're one of the most reliable food sources you'll ever own. 3. Canned meat, the survival. Luxury meat is one of the hardest foods to keep in a crisis because it spoils quickly without refrigeration. That's where canned meat steps in as a true lifesaver. Canned chicken, beef, tuna, salmon, sardines, and even humble Spam can last anywhere from 5 to 10 years when stored properly in a cool, dark place. And while some people might wrinkle their noses at the idea of eating canned meat during normal times, in a crisis, it can feel like a 5-star dinner when everything else is scarce. Canned meat isn't just about taste, it's about survival nutrition. Protein is the building block your body needs for muscle repair, immune health, and stamina. Without enough protein, your energy will plummet, your recovery will slow, and your body will begin breaking down muscle for fuel. Fats, on the other hand, provide long-lasting energy, keeping you full and helping you perform physically demanding tasks like hauling water, chopping firewood, repairing shelter, or even defending your property. These aren't just empty calories, they're survival fuel that can make the difference between keeping up with daily challenges or collapsing from exhaustion. History proves their value. During World War I and II, canned meats like corned beef and tinned fish were shipped in massive quantities to soldiers on the front lines. They were reliable, calorie-dense, compact, and didn't require refrigeration, making them just as valuable to a survivalist today as they were to troops a century ago. Even during the Great Depression, families relied on canned meats because they were affordable, versatile, and safe from spoilage for long stretches of time. Another huge advantage? Canned meats are ready to eat straight from the can. If your ability to cook is compromised, maybe the power grid is down, fuel is scarce, or you need to keep smoke and noise to a minimum, you can still get a complete protein-packed meal instantly. In extreme situations, the ability to eat without preparation could save your life. And when you do have a way to cook, canned meats are incredibly versatile. Add them to stews, soups, pasta, rice, or even bread dough for savory meat-filled rolls. Don't underestimate the extra uses for the cans themselves. Once empty, they can be cleaned and repurposed for boiling water, storing small items like matches, fishing hooks, or seeds, or even as makeshift cooking pots over a small flame. In survival mode, nothing should be wasted, not even the liquid inside the can, which often contains valuable fats and nutrients you can drink or use for cooking. When it comes to morale, canned meat can also lift spirits in ways you might not expect. In a survival scenario, meals are more than just fuel, they're a mental and emotional anchor. Opening a can of flavorful beef stew or rich, smoky sardines after days of foraging can restore a sense of normalcy and comfort that's just as important as the calories themselves. Storage tip: keep your canned meats in a cool, dry place, ideally between 50 degrees Fahrenheit and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid storing them in garages, sheds, or attics where extreme heat or cold can shorten their shelf life. Practice rotation. Eat the oldest cans first and replace them with new ones. Label cans with purchase dates using a permanent marker so you can track freshness easily. By keeping your supply in good condition and rotating stock, you'll ensure that every can you open in a crisis is safe, tasty, and ready to keep you going strong. 4. Peanut butter. High energy in a jar. If you've ever been on a long hike, done hard labor, or even gone too long without a meal, you know how fast your energy can drop. That's where peanut butter comes in. It's one of the most concentrated sources of calories, protein, and healthy fats you can store. Just a couple of spoonfuls can keep you going for hours. And in a survival situation, that kind of quick, lasting energy boost can be priceless. Peanut butter isn't just a snack, it's a survival powerhouse. It's rich in protein to keep your muscles fueled, packed with healthy fats to sustain energy, and loaded with calories to help you maintain your strength even when food is scarce. Unlike many other protein sources, it doesn't require refrigeration, cooking, or complicated preparation. You can spread it on bread, mix it into oatmeal, stir it into smoothies, or just eat it straight from the jar. In a crisis, simplicity matters. One of peanut butter's hidden strengths is its comfort factor. In stressful times, food isn't just about survival, it's also about morale. For kids, a spoonful of peanut butter might remind them of normal days at home, and for adults, it can bring a small sense of familiarity when the world feels uncertain. That's why peanut butter was one of the first items to fly off grocery store shelves during the COVID-19 lockdowns. People intuitively knew it ticked all the boxes: affordable, easy to store, nutrient-dense, and satisfying. When it comes to long-term storage, peanut butter generally lasts about 2 years unopened. If kept in a cool, dark place, away from heat and moisture, it can last even longer without noticeable changes in flavor or texture. For prepping, stick to commercially sealed jars instead of fresh ground or natural peanut butter, as the latter tends to spoil faster due to a lack of preservatives and stabilizers. You can also rotate your stock by buying new jars as you consume the old ones, ensuring you always have a fresh supply. Another bonus? Peanut butter is lightweight and portable, making it ideal for bug-out bags or emergency kits. A single 16-ounce jar can pack over 2,600 calories, meaning just 2 jars could provide enough fuel for a couple of days if you had nothing else. In a pinch, you can even use it creatively, mixed with powdered milk and sugar for a quick protein snack, or combined with honey to make an energy-rich spread. When crisis hits, you'll be glad you thought ahead. Peanut butter isn't flashy or exotic, but it's reliable, long-lasting, and capable of delivering the calories and comfort you'll need to keep going when the shelves are bare. 5. Honey, the forever food. Honey is nature's miracle food, one of the few natural substances that can truly be called eternal. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that were over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. This isn't just legend or exaggeration. Scientists have verified it. Honey's unique chemical makeup and low moisture content make it an environment where bacteria and mold simply cannot survive. It's naturally antibacterial, never spoils, and has countless uses far beyond sweetening your tea or drizzling over biscuits. In a survival scenario, honey can be a true lifeline. First, it's an instant energy source. Its natural sugars, mainly glucose and fructose, are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream, providing a fast energy boost without the crash you get from many processed sweets. That's why athletes often use honey as a natural fuel during endurance events. In a crisis, a single spoonful can give you the push you need to keep moving, whether you're hiking out of danger, hauling supplies, or simply enduring a long, exhausting day. Honey is also a natural healer. For centuries, it's been used as a medicinal remedy in cultures all over the world. In ancient Greece, Hippocrates prescribed honey for wounds and digestive issues. In traditional Chinese medicine, honey has been valued for its soothing and balancing effects. Modern science now backs up many of these uses. Honey has proven antibacterial properties, helps draw moisture out of wounds, which can prevent bacterial growth, and can promote faster healing when applied to minor cuts, burns, and abrasions. If you're dealing with a cough or sore throat, honey works as both a comfort and a medicine. Its thick texture coats the throat, easing irritation, while its natural compounds can help reduce inflammation. Mixed with a bit of lemon juice in warm water, it becomes a soothing drink that can help you sleep through a cold night in the wild. Another overlooked benefit of honey in a survival situation is its role as a morale booster. When you're living on bland, repetitive rations like rice, beans, or canned meat, having something sweet and comforting can lift your spirits in ways that are hard to measure. Morale is often underestimated in survival planning, but anyone who has endured long hardships knows that the mental battle can be just as tough as the physical one. A spoonful of honey after a long day can be a reminder of better times and a motivator to keep going. Honey also has minor nutritional benefits compared to refined sugar. While it's still mostly sugar, it contains trace amounts of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. In the grand scheme of survival nutrition, every bit counts, especially if your diet becomes limited. Some darker varieties, like buckwheat honey, are particularly high in antioxidants, giving you an extra edge in fighting inflammation and boosting your immune system. When it comes to storage, honey is nearly unbeatable. Keep it in a sealed jar in a cool, dry place and it will last indefinitely. Even if it crystallizes over time, a natural process where the sugars form solid crystals, it's still perfectly safe to eat. Simply place the jar in warm water and the honey will return to its liquid state. In fact, many preppers recommend storing both liquid honey and crystallized honey, since the crystallized form can be easier to portion out in certain situations. Another advantage is that honey is compact and dense. A single quart jar contains over 3,000 calories, meaning you can store a huge amount of energy in a relatively small space. That's an important consideration for bug-out bags or compact survival kits where every inch of space matters. In an emergency, honey can even serve as a barter item. It's universally liked, valuable for both food and medicine, and not something most people can produce themselves without beekeeping knowledge. In a long-term crisis, having extra jars on hand could make you a sought-after trading partner. And don't forget, if you ever decide to take up beekeeping, you not only get a renewable source of honey, but also beeswax for candles, propolis for medicine, and the all-important service of pollination for your garden. Beekeeping has been a survival skill for thousands of years, and in a self-reliance mindset, honey is one of the most valuable things you can produce. 6. Powdered milk. Dairy without a fridge. Milk is one of those comfort foods people crave the most in a crisis. It's familiar, nutritious, and a big part of many diets, whether in your morning cereal, coffee, or baked goods. Fresh milk, however, spoils in just a few days without refrigeration, making it almost impossible to store long-term. That's where powdered milk comes in, a survival pantry hero. When stored properly, it can last 20 years or more, providing all the benefits of milk without the risk of spoilage. Powdered milk isn't just for drinking. You can reconstitute it with water to create a milk substitute, add it to oatmeal or mashed potatoes for creaminess, Use it in baking to make breads and cakes softer, or even stir it into soups and sauces for added richness. For coffee and tea lovers, it's an easy way to keep that daily ritual alive when fresh milk isn't available. For children, it's especially valuable during emergencies. Powdered milk provides essential nutrients like calcium for strong bones, protein for growth, and vitamin D to help the body absorb minerals. In a long-term crisis, it can even be used to make yogurt, cheese, or evaporated milk if you have the right skills and basic equipment, bringing variety to an otherwise repetitive diet. Historically, powdered milk has been a lifeline in hard times. During the Cold War, it was a staple in government food stockpiles. It was shipped to families during shortages, sent as aid to disaster zones, and even included in fallout shelter rations. That level of priority shows just how essential it is when fresh dairy is out of reach. Storage tip: keep powdered milk in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers and store it in a cool, dark place. Avoid moisture at all costs, as it will cause clumping and shorten its shelf life. If stored properly, this humble, lightweight food can be one of the most valuable and versatile items in your emergency supply. When crisis strikes, it's not the people with the biggest houses or the fanciest gadgets who make it through, it's the people who are prepared. Stocking up on these essential foods could mean the difference between barely surviving and thriving when the unexpected happens. So don't wait until store shelves are empty. Start building your emergency pantry today, one item at a time. And if you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and tap the bell so you never miss a survival tip that could save your life. Your future self will thank you.